Hey everyone, welcome to the Touch My Health podcast with Matt and Katie, where we dig into mental health, physical health, and holistic wellness. We share personal stories and struggles that we have overcome. These are our own opinions and experiences. Enjoy.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Touch My Health podcast. My name is Matt.
I'm Katie.
And last week we talked about 5 signs to identify a narcissist and 5 ways to overcome that. This week we wanted to give you 3 signs how you are healing from narcissistic abuse. So, Katie, you want to get into it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
3 signs you're healing from narcissistic abuse. First sign, I would say, is you stop blaming yourself. So you start realizing the abuse wasn't your fault. Stop blaming yourself, thinking, what did I do? If I hadn't done this, then this wouldn't have happened and I wouldn't be in this situation. Like you stop blaming yourself. It's not your fault.
Right.
You are um, reclaiming your power back. You're
I
saying,
love that.
I'm not the one to blame for this outcome.
Yeah.
I was not the problem. This is not my fault.
And a lot like what we talked about last week was if you're always the problem,
You're
most
probably
likely
not the problem.
you're not the problem all of
Yep.
the time. There are very few, instances that you could be the problem sometimes, but most likely if you're always the problem,
Hmm.
you're not the problem, right?
And I know that I feel this one strongly because I know that I am healing from narcissistic abuse. I don't feel um, blame. I'm not sitting here blaming myself.
Yeah.
I did for a small period of time, but now I know it wasn't me. I was not the problem. I mean, I'm not a perfect human being. I wasn't a perfect wife. But that narcissistic abuse and that manipulation and all of the other disgusting behaviors that go along with it was not my fault. It was not my fault.
Yeah. And that's part of it is the manipulation. It's that power to gain over you so they can control you.
Victim mentality. They're always the victim.
100%.
They
Yeah.
have to position themselves that way. So when you stop blaming yourself and you realize that um, you're not the one to blame for the outcome, it's not your fault. That's a
Yeah.
really good sign that you are healing from narcissistic abuse.
Great. Okay. Number 2.
So, number 2 is setting boundaries without feeling guilty,
Setting
which is,
boundaries. That's a big one.
yeah, that's really good. The moment you say no without over explaining, you're definitely in the healing phase.
Okay. Give me
So,
give me an example.
so
Like,
saying no, someone asks you to do something, maybe go out of your way to accommodate them, um, and you say no, or they ask you to do something that you feel uncomfortable with, you don't want to do, and you say no without feeling the need to explain why or over explain or have a already like you rehearsed a speech in your head about why you're going to say no and the reasons why. You just say no. It's not something I want to do. It's not
right.
within my personal boundaries anymore.
Yep. And setting up that boundary really almost checks that other person. It checks them to let them know that you're gaining your own
Mhm.
self power back and empowering
Mhm.
yourself and positioning yourself in the relationship where it should be a relationship of, you are the same as me. We are equals. We're a team, especially if you're married or in a long-term relationship. There shouldn't be any type of I'm better than you, you're better than me. We should basically pull each other up where we're weak. And if you have to explain yourself all the time and you feel the need to do that, that's
Well, when you're answering, when someone's asking you to do something, and this isn't necessarily in that relationship or not, it's just when you realize that you're healing from the abuse, when you're able to tell anyone. I mean, it doesn't even have to be with that person, or you don't have to be in that relationship. Going throughout your life, you don't have to, like when I ask you questions, um, or you ask me, hey, do you want to go do this? Hey, do you mind doing this? I know I can tell you no, and I don't need to prepare a speech of
right.
why in my
Yeah.
head. You're not going to sit there and try to make me feel guilty for telling you no, I don't want to do that.
Hmm.
I'm not comfortable doing that, or I have things to do. I have priorities to take care of.
Right.
I have things to accomplish.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And
and then
there,
you making me feel bad. Why? Well, why you should do what I say. Just tell me yes all the time.
yeah. Yeah. And that does make sense. I mean, there are a lot of times where we go hang out with our friends aside from each other, and you'll ask me, hey, we're going to go to, go out to eat for lunch or go out and have drinks with the girls, whatever. Do you want to come? And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like I have a lot of other things to do, or you go enjoy your time with the girls. And that's me putting up my own boundary, and then you do the same with me. And I feel like that's important. I
Hmm.
feel like there shouldn't be that explanation, the need for
Hmm.
it.
Yes, and someone telling you, your partner, I need you to go do this. I need you to go do this. Basically, stop what you're doing. I need you to go take care of something for me
Right now.
right now.
Yeah. The world
There,
is on fire.
and there's a if you're in a healthy relationship and an emergency comes up, you were like, babe, I need you to take care of this right now. Of course, I got you.
Right.
But hey, I need you to come bring me lunch right now. Like I'm starving. I need you to drop what you're doing, drive 30 minutes to 40 minutes to bring me lunch. I don't care if you're working right now. Your schedule's not important. I need to eat.
Oh,
It's an exaggerated example, but that kind of has happened to me before. So, and it's,
it's a real
saying,
life.
no, I have work to do. I have things I need to accomplish
Right.
without being made to feel guilty.
Hmm.
And there's other extremes to that too. But
So really building that boundary almost sets yourself as an equal and sets you up to accomplish the things that are on your to-do list because you have a personal to-do list to where you're not allowing someone to dictate your day. You're dictating your day.
well, and you're putting up boundaries with expectations and not feeling guilty about saying
Right. The guilty part
no.
is big
That
too. Yeah.
causes that.
Right.
You're putting your foot down
Yeah.
without and standing up for yourself without feeling guilty.
Hmm. I think the guilty part is a big one with that and shows the sign that you're healing when you can say no and be okay with it. Makes sense to me.
Hmm.
Okay.
So, last one is you rediscover um, things that bring you joy.
Oh,
Rediscover lost joys, lost loves, things that you used to have passion for, um, hobbies, whatnot, whatever they
right.
are, and you start
Healthy
really
hobbies, not just going out and drinking and
crack.
yeah,
No,
smoking drugs and
don't
yeah,
do drugs, kids.
don't do kids drugs. Yeah, so getting back to yourself, right? Getting back to
Hmm.
those fun hobbies, those things you like to enjoy doing.
Yeah, rediscovering them, and they, you might be surprised. You start feeling even more passionate about those lost hobbies
Hmm.
because they feel new. It,
Again.
it feels new again,
Yeah.
almost.
What are a couple of your hobbies that you like to do?
Well, I do like to cook, but you cook more than me.
Hmm. I enjoy
I
cooking also,
do.
but you cook with me.
Yeah, and last week you said to me, you're like, oh, 3 days in a row. You
Yeah. Yeah.
But I used to love cooking. I really, after I had my oldest daughter, I fell in love with the Food Network and I love to try new foods and cook all the time.
Oh, who was your
But
favorite chef?
I really liked Guy Fieri
Oh, look at
and
you with the little Fieri.
Fieri. I can't roll my R's.
Right.
Um, who else though? There was Bobby
But
Flay.
I was just gonna
Loved
say
Bobby
Bobby Flay.
Flay.
Bobby Flay was good.
Um, oh, what's her name? She was an Italian lady, very pretty. Um, I don't
No
know.
idea.
I don't know. I'll have to look it
I
up.
don't know too many of the Food Network people. I'm not much of a TV watcher or reality TV show watcher, so I didn't really get into the cooking channel. I've really kind of taught myself how to cook more or
I
less.
literally put in Google Italian chef lady pretty, and
And
it's
what did it
it's
come up?
Giada De Laurentiis.
Huh?
Giada De Laurentiis.
Hmm. That's that's her
So
name.
yeah, that was her.
Oh, I recognize her.
Yeah,
Okay.
I liked her a
Show
lot.
show the show the camera who you're talking
Well,
about.
they can look it up, Giada De Laurentiis.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, it's blurry. It's not gonna
Yeah,
work.
it's not gonna.
Yeah.
But
So
and then
hobbies.
so yes, hobbies. I um, kind of lost that hobby in my second marriage just because we went out to eat a lot and then
Hmm.
he was very particular about food. So it just kind of went away. And working out, I mean, that's a hobby, but it's something I love
100%.
doing.
Hmm.
And in my last marriage, it wasn't that. I mean, that was not an issue, me working out, but sometimes it would be an issue, the times or the place, or because I didn't like working out with him.
Oh,
It just wasn't fun. Well, did you have, after you got divorced, did you have any passions that you rediscovered or hobbies that you started picking back up, things you've forgotten about?
yeah, honestly, it was more of my my freedom. I felt like when I was tied down is kind of, I mean, the only way to describe it. My friends were kind of put on the back burner, and I wasn't allowed that big part of my world. And a big part of my world are my friends, my family, making those connections with people. And I really got back into hanging out with my friends and coming and going as I pleased, basically. And we do that now with each other because we understand how important that is for
Well,
each other.
but would you say that's a passion? I mean, being able to come and go as you please or not feeling so tied down. I don't know that I would. I mean, being able to see your friends and family, definitely something you love and enjoy. You're a people person for sure.
Right.
Um, but being able to come and go as you please, I don't feel like is necessarily a passion.
Not a passion. Okay.
No. Or a
Um,
hobby or I
yeah,
mean, baseball or softball, you started playing softball. I know when we started dating and played kickball,
yeah,
maybe not, well, I know it's not things you could have done before because you said that in one of the episodes was you being able to go play softball for 2 hours or
right.
was it softball or
It was
baseball?
softball, yeah.
I
So
always get confused.
that was definitely one of them that I picked back up again. And baseball has always been a huge part of my life, playing, watching, going to sporting events, going to concerts. That's my biggest hobby is
Mm.
going to live shows. I
Mm-hmm.
like metal and really being able to do that regularly. Being able to play softball. We started a kickball league. That was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fun. Um, and Tay got to come out and join the team, and we got to play and from that I picked softball back up and really that was finding myself again and then actually discovering that I liked cooking and I've
You're
enjoyed
so good at it. That's
and
why I, don't even feel that I need to be in the kitchen really, because you're just,
well you're a good sous chef.
yeah,
You're a good helper.
we definitely make a good cooking team. That's for sure.
Definitely.
And our cooking, I say our, but I mean, I think yours is better, but our cooking must be good considering we've had people, um, or we've donated a three-course meal, I think it was,
Hmm.
for one of
Or the Chris Stone
the
legacy.
Crestone Foundation
Yep.
legacy, for is it which cook-off is it though? Or is it
It's the
that's the,
Chris, yeah, it's the Chris
okay.
Stone cook-off, and that was
Mhm.
from the Santa Fe shooting.
Didn't, yeah. And didn't we have two of those?
We did.
And
We donated a three-course meal that we personally cooked.
it was, I mean, they said it was delicious
They
and
did.
they
They did.
asked us to do it again. So
Yeah.
cooking, yes, we make a good team. Apparently our food is pretty good too.
Yep.
I think
And
it's more you than me, but
yeah, so we ended up doing that, and that was really one of the finding myself and to point number three is rediscovering yourself and being able to learn new things. I've really found that I've enjoyed cooking, something I wasn't allowed to do. I wasn't allowed to be in the kitchen. Um,
get out of my kitchen.
yeah, and that was exactly what it was. So,
Well, I was told, a couple of years ago or so, I don't know,
uh,
that no man wants to be in the kitchen.
no man wants to be in the kitchen. That's a
Mhm.
lie.
So I don't know what kind of tomfoolery you're doing, but
Cooking ain't a woman's job.
yeah, no man wants to be in the kitchen.
We own the
Mm.
grill. We're the grillers.
Okay. Let me know how that works out for you, buddy.
Right?
Uh, is this something you think can be done only after you get out of the relationship, or is it something that you can do while you're in the relationship?
Oh, good question. Do I think personally that you can heal from narcissistic abuse in the same relationship with the same person? Is that what you're asking?
Yes,
Okay.
but I would say obviously only if both both teammates are on the same team,
Yeah. Yeah,
they're
that's gonna be
both healing.
hmm
One is healing from doing the hurt because she is a narcissistic abuser.
Yep.
The other one is healing from
Being a
yeah.
victim. Yeah.
Or it can't work like that, and it's only after they've left said relationship.
Man, great question, because it would really take a lot for the abuser to identify themselves and be able to work on themselves. And you would have to almost recreate that dynamic again to back to a healthy relationship or to start a healthy relationship. And I don't know if that's possible. I'm sure it is. It would take a lot of work. I think more work from the abuser than the victim, but the victim would have a lot of work to do on themselves. I think it can be done, but I would say probably 80% of the time, no, it can't. It can't be done because of that dynamic has been broken so bad that it would take a miracle.
It's
Honestly,
hard. It would be
that's my own
hard. It would be a
opinion.
lot of work. I think it can, but I don't think it's the norm.
Right.
I think it's a lot of work. There's a guy I follow on Facebook. It's Jimmy on relationships. And while I don't think he was a narcissist, he had a lot of relationship issues with his wife. He was unfaithful, and
Oh,
basically they worked through it, and he became, a relationship coach and specializes in communication and delves into a lot of that. So it is possible people to come out on the other side of
hmm.
it. But like you said, I think it's very, very hard. It's not the norm.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that's going to be required from
Therapy.
both parties. Oh
Therapy,
gosh, yeah.
I don't think you could do it without,
I don't think you could do it without therapy. I agree.
right,
I don't
with,
think you could.
yeah, without a
Mm-mm.
professional basically being the referee almost in a sense, for lack of a better word, being the referee and giving you guys building blocks because you're both going to need building blocks
Professional help.
separately, right? And you're going to work on this as the abuser and this as the victim. So you guys then are going to have building blocks together to work on your relationship, to work on your dynamic and piece it back together
Rewrite
and
your foundation.
yeah, and become friends, really. That is the biggest piece because with I think in uh an abusive relationship, you guys aren't friends. One thinks they're better
No,
than the other.
you're definitely not
And
friends.
right. So I think that is where it would really start is building that friendship and building that dynamic to where you are both on the same level.
Healing is done after you're out of the relationship. I think once you've left, that's when most of the healing is done.
Hmm.
I know for me, it was. And I
Right.
had to do therapy, many years of therapy.
Same.
The only reason that I stopped going to therapy was because my therapist moved to a different state and I just haven't found someone that I
Connect with.
connect with.
Yeah.
I would still go if my therapist still lived here, I would still be going.
See, and
But
therapy for me was good for a term in my life. I felt like I got what I needed and was given the building blocks and have worked on those. And through relationships, I have implemented those certain things like the three things that we've talked about, rediscovering yourself, building,
boundaries
building,
without guilt
building those boundaries
and not blaming yourself.
and correct and not blaming myself. And really that has helped with our relationship. And
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm a much better person now than I was when I was a husband, or even a boyfriend to whomever, our past relationships. I feel like I've gotten better through my healing by doing these three things. And I don't think I could have done that. I know I couldn't have done that in the relationship that I was in.
Yeah, I could not have done it and
Yeah.
I don't see that I could have done it
You know what?
in any of the relationships.
Yeah.
Maybe the first one, but um only probably more so just because of our children. But
Yeah. You know what I thought of when we were driving actually. We were driving up to Dallas this weekend and something popped in my head about last week you talked about don't tell me I'm too sensitive, right? That's a trigger for you. Don't tell me I'm too sensitive.
Even though I know I am. But
But I have a person in my family, no names obviously, but I went to him and said, "Hey, I didn't like something that you said." And I called him on the phone after it was in our family group chat. I went to him and I said, "Hey, I didn't like what you said. It didn't come across very nice. It was very rude." And he told me that I was too sensitive and then attacked me personally and told me that I'm too sensitive. I need to get over it, all of this stuff. And I was taken back. I'm like, what? Like it shows that even as grown adults, if you call somebody out to build that boundary, like, hey, what you said was not okay, they can still be that narcissistic, have that ego, and not be able to deal with that. And when you said that last week, I didn't even think about it. But then as we were driving to Dallas this weekend, I thought of it and I'm like, holy crap. Like it's not just in relationships, it's
right. Yeah.
not just in marriages or that. It can be relationships within your family, it can be friendships, whatever. But when that happened, I still haven't talked to him because, I don't have anything to say when somebody tells you that and then attacks you personally. And like you said, it was a trigger for me. It almost it didn't almost, it hurt my feelings because I had a lot of respect for that person. And now my respect for that person has completely gone away. And I refuse to be around or to talk to him until we hash that out. And I'm not going to be the one to go to him because I'm not the one that attacked me. I came to him as a man. I came to him in a very respectful way. And then when I asked him, why he said the things he did, he told me I was too damn sensitive and I needed to get over it. And this is why I'm a problem and all that stuff. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I can't deal with that. So
that's a very typical response from someone who is displays narcissistic personality.
yeah, yep,
Yeah, I've been told that you're too
yeah,
sensitive. You need to get over it.
right.
You're the problem,
Hmm.
or that's why, you know, that's why we don't have nice things. No, not that, but
Yeah. And it's almost as though that person thinks they're better than you and you're not allowed to have feelings. And
well, they can't. You can't attack them. You can't say anything negative. I don't mean attack. You can't say anything negative to them. You
mhm,
can't. They can't own up to their shortcomings or their wrongdoings. They
and
can't
accept
take
responsibility.
accountability.
Hmm.
Hurts their little ego
That's
breaker.
exactly it. Not being able to take
So it's
account.
deflection.
Hmm.
Got to deflect, and no, I'm not the problem. You're the problem.
Right. And it's that accountability, just like you
Hmm.
said.
There's another guy I follow on Facebook too, and I've seen some other videos of his. Name is Lee Hammond. He's actually a diagnosed or someone who's diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder medically. So it's interesting to watch some of his content because he puts things into perspective from someone who used to do all the narcissistic behaviors. And he'll have role plays with himself and some of the things that he says and then acts like the toxic person versus the non-toxic person.
So
But
the
I
abuser
think
and the victim, he like plays off of
he
himself.
plays like both. But
Okay.
it's an interesting perspective from somebody who has been clinically diagnosed with it, recognizes those patterns, knows those things about themselves, and is now using it for good. So people, even narcissists, can heal. They can get better. I
Certainly.
definitely don't think it's the norm, or it's not the rule, it's the exception.
Hmm.
What
Definitely.
movie was that from?
There's an exception. I don't know what movie that's from.
The guy was saying that that's always the rule. You're the rule, and then they want to be the exception, the girl. It's one of those movies where they have like all these different love stories going on. Bradley Cooper's in it. Um, what's her name? Jennifer Connelly, I think.
No
Scarlett
idea.
Johansson's in it.
Not
Oh,
ringing a
he's
bell.
just not that into you.
Oh, that's a chick flick.
Yes. So
I don't know if I've seen that.
in the chick flick, in that he's just not that into you, one of the main characters is telling one of the other main characters basically how it goes with men. And everyone is the rule. There's the rule, and all the girls want to be the exception to the rule.
Oh yeah.
And you're not, or they make all these excuses in their head for the guy. And he's telling her, like, listen, if a guy doesn't call you, he doesn't want to call you,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Like, don't, she's all, well, what if he got hit by a car? Or what if this, that? Like, no,
Making
it's the
excuses.
rule.
Yeah.
And then I like it. I mean, it's a good chick flick movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the end, spoiler alert, I'm sure everyone's seen it though, so it's not really a spoiler alert. Said guy who's trying to teach the girl, he winds up falling for her and she becomes his exception, you
Oh.
know.
Oh.
Yeah,
How
cute.
cute.
So sweet. But definitely seek therapy. And if you are someone who is constantly being told by your significant other, your family member, your friends, anyone, and you find yourself losing friends, losing relationships, and you keep thinking that it's them and not you, maybe you should just take a pause and really evaluate some of the things that have gone on in your life and try to be very honest and real with yourself.
100%.
Take the blindfold off and get help also.
Yep.
Definitely get help, and definitely look up professional help for um, mental health disorders. I mean, I think narcissistic, we looked this up in Dallas on the way.
We did.
Narcissistic personality disorder is a clinical medical diagnosis for
Hmm.
mental health. It is classified in the, I do not remember the acronym for it, but it is something that you can be clinically diagnosed with. Now, I don't know that there's a medication you could take. I don't know that that is it, but there are specific skill sets that therapists can use to help narcissists recover
Yeah.
and come out of that and have tools to use to where they're not being mentally abusive to their family, to their partner, to their friends, or whoever.
Hmm.
That's
Nar
that's the tougher one to get, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
Narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. That's what I think what you were looking for.
well, there's an acronym for the medical clinically diagnosed mental health disorders. There's some mental health disorders I am assuming that aren't within that like clinically diagnosed category.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Like you're cranky. It's not a clinically
It's not
diagnosed.
clinically
Um,
diagnosed.
we're both we're both tired and a
Very.
little cranky, but yes. So seek help would be the first step. That would be the biggest thing. I don't even know what else I would suggest or recommend aside from that.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, I mean, the tips that we talked about last week in the second episode are super helpful. These are signs that you're healing. So they may not come right away, but you will start to notice them. You will start implementing them in your life without really even thinking about it. And that's when you know, okay, yeah, I'm actually healing. Like
You're on
things
that
are getting
road. Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's all we got for today's TED Talk.
Yep. So good talk. Again, three signs you're healing from narcissistic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Number one,
Stop blaming yourself.
stop blaming yourself. Number two,
Setting boundaries and not feeling guilty about telling someone no.
good one. And number three,
Rediscovering things that bring you joy, your passions, hobbies,
that's right. Get back to
lost love.
yourself. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Good
Well,
talk.
good talk. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye. Peace.
If you learned something and our stories resonate with you, subscribe to our podcast. That's a zero-cost way to support our channel. You can also follow us on Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok. They're linked in the description of the episode. We'd love for you to put any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes in the comment section on YouTube. We'll read them all. Again, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your interest. And as always, we remind you to be the best version of yourself. See you next time on the Touch My Health podcast.